As the last speaker on the program, let me share with you my philosophy on public speaking. When rabbis visit our community and ask, "Rabbi, what would you like me to speak about?" I tell them, you can speak about whatever you want. I'm going to tell you how long to speak. If you speak 15 minutes or less, whatever you say, you will be fantastic. If you speak longer than 20 minutes, whatever you say, you'll be terrible. Between 15 and 20 minutes, you'll be judged on the merit of the speech. My goal today, folks, is for all of you to think that I am fantastic. I'm not going to speak about crisis, Chabad in time of need, which is the historic role of Chabad that we're all familiar with and we've heard so much about today. I'm going to speak about Chabad in an environment of peace and tranquility. In 1984, there was one Orthodox shul in Atlanta, Georgia, with a membership of approximately 350 families. Today, there are 12 Orthodox shuls. 6 of them are Chabad. And that's in addition to Chabad outreach centers on campus, schools, summer camps, friendship circle, etc. This past Rosh Hashanah, approximately 6,000 Jews davened in Orthodox shuls in Atlanta, 3,000 in Chabad. Who are these people? What's their profile? I'd like to ask Mr. Ian Ratner to please stand up. Take a good look at him, folks. No. We'll have a good look at you. Mr. Ratner is the president of our Chabad shul in Atlanta. He grew up in a traditional home in Montreal. He's a family man with a successful business. And he did not turn to Chabad because of any crisis in his life. He is a regular guy. But it wasn't always like that. 20 or 30 years ago, there was those who supported Chabad, and then there were those who belonged to Chabad. Or some people put it, there were the payers and then the prayers, those who paid for others to pray. And the twain never mixed. At our 18th year's celebration, the local Jewish paper ran a story on Chabad, and the headline was, "Chabad is mainstream." We are no longer, as Rabbi Eliezer mentioned, fringe, but very much a part of the fabric of mainstream Jewish society. What is it that normal, regular people associate with weird-looking people like myself and our colleagues who don't have a college education, who don't even have, very often, a high school diploma? What's the attraction? A nice Yiddish boy from Minnesota penned and sang the words, "Times they are a-changin'." He actually davened in our shul on Yom Kippur a few years ago. And it's true. Almost everything is changing, constantly. Technology, science, medicine, economics. But there is one thing that has never changed and will never change, and that's us. We as human beings have not changed at all. We deal with the same problems that Adam and Eve did in the Garden of Eden, and the same problems Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, and Jacob that we read about in these week's Torah portions. The attraction I feel is that people want to be connected to authenticity. They want to find expression for that which doesn't change within ourselves. And traditional Judaism provides that anchor, that connection. We live in a world where there are no red lines. The Prime Minister, Mr. Netanyahu, speaks of the red line. But morally and spiritually, in our culture, life is moving goalposts. And Chabad provides a moral and spiritual red line. But what is unique about Chabad? And we've heard a lot about it today. A neighbor of mine, Dr. Victor Silverman, who has attended Orthodox synagogues all his life and recently became a member of our shul. And he was not a regular shul goer, and he expressed to me as follows the difference. He said, when I would go to shul once in a while, and I hadn't been there for a while, I was greeted with, "Where have you been?" And when I come to a Chabad shul, I'm greeted with, "It's great to see you." The rabbi of the largest conservative synagogue in Atlanta, who is now retired and living in Israel, when he comes back to Atlanta, he remarks to me that he comes to my shul in order to visit his former members. His son also happens to be the gabbai of our shul. Rabbi Abraham Torski, the well-known Hasidic rabbi and psychiatrist, wrote a beautiful book called From Generation to Generation, where he shares recollections of his childhood. And he speaks about the way he interacted, he and his siblings, with his father. And that whenever he or his siblings would misbehave, his father would always say to them in Yiddish, "Es passt nicht." He would never say to them, "This is wrong, you are bad." Es passt nicht means, this is unbecoming. This is not who you really are. And when a Jew comes to Chabad, he connects with who he or she really is. The Rebbe was opposed to the title of outreach, suggesting that somebody was out who needed to be brought in. In Chabad, we are all insiders. In Chabad, we are not trying to make you Jewish, but we are working with you to find expression to your innate Jewishness. It is who you are that is important, that we connect to and relate to. So thank you for your support, and more importantly, for being a part of the Chabad family. Thank you.